All right, so if you were absent Monday and Tuesday, we drew a couple of forms. We drew a cup, we drew a bowl, we drew a cap, and then we drew a shoe with a leg in it and tennis and some pants. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your page vertically in front of you so it's long ways this way. And then you're going to divide your paper into 4 pieces. I'm going to be going through this kind of rather quickly, so you can just stop it and pause it as you need to, as you keep going, okay? So in this square here, or rectangle, we're going to draw a cup, okay? So I went ahead and zoomed in on that rectangle right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off drawing an ellipse, kind of like to maybe about 2 fingers from the top or something like that. We're going to make an ellipse. It's going to look like this. And you want it to be closer to, well, that looks weird. You want it to be closer to this edge than to that edge, because we're going to put a handle on our cup. I didn't like that ellipse right there. All right, so once you have your ellipse in there, which is basically like a flat circle, we're going to go ahead and bring down some vertical lines, so up and down lines. So we're going to go ahead and go here. Make sure you're coming from the edge of your circle or your ellipse. You're going to make some vertical lines that look like this. And then on the other side as well, these are parallel to each other. And then the bottom is going to go curved like this. So we'll go ahead and go curved like that. And then once we get that, we're going to go ahead and add a handle here. And don't be too particular about how your handle looks. Different handles are different all the time. So we're going to start on the line. We're going to go up and then around and then back up. So it'll look like that. Then you draw a line on the inside that is parallel to this one. So it's going to kind of go in like this and there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to have our light source coming from this side, okay? So this is going to be our dark side. So we're going to go ahead and start off. I'm going to use the side of my lead. We're going to start in this corner, and we're going to fan out a couple of curved lines that are going to look like this. And we're just going to keep going down the line, bringing out some curved lines that look like this. And you can press a little hard. It doesn't have to be too hard. But you want to stay in your form. And again, some curved lines coming off of that edge. And you don't want to, you don't want to go past the halfway mark, okay? And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, so now that I have these curved lines in here, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of, I'm going to shade this in, okay? So this is going to be my light side. I'm going to erase this here. Lighten up this line. We want it, but we just don't want it to be so dark. Okay? And then we're going to shade this light all the way across. So the really light value, we're going to go ahead and go all the way across the cup. And I'm going to go ahead and put my finger on the bottom. Just kind of control where it stops. As I start getting to this side, I can start giving a little bit more pressure to my pencil. And then end there. And that's got a really nice light value across the top. And now I'm going to start on this side, and I'm going to press a little bit harder. I'm going to go up and down this line, make sure I'm applying some pressure. And as I come back in, I'm going to start to lighten up my pressure just a little bit. And I'll go ahead and stop right there. Okay? Anything that's outside of where we're working, we can erase. So I'm going to erase all that stuff inside there and whatever's around the outside. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go a little darker on this side. I don't like the way that looks. It looks too light. So I'm going to go just a little darker on this side. There we go. I like that better. And then all I'm going to do is use my finger to kind of blend in here. So I'm going to just go up and down, and I'm going to blend from the light side all the way across to the coming from the dark side all the way across to the light side. And if you go out of your form, we'll just erase it later, so you can see I just went there. I'm going to keep going, move down a little bit, go from the dark side to the light side, and do that all the way across your work. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do is erase everything that's outside. So I've got all these dark and these little floating shadows that are outside the cup. I'm going to erase it because they don't belong there. And I'm going to clean that up. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the handle. And on the handle, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of shading to the bottom part on the inside. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and start add a little bit of a dark line coming off the line right here. And then I'm going to stop right here. And then I'm going to go to the bottom of the line on this side, on the bottom line here. And I'll stop like right there. And then once I've got that in there, I can go ahead and just blend with my finger inside the handle. And now I want to erase anything that does not belong, that is outside of the handle and outside of the cup. And clean up this stuff here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is work the inside of the cup. So in the inside of the cup, we're going to go ahead, and if the light's coming from here, that means it's going to go inside and it's going to hit on this side, and this side will be the dark side. So we're going to start off by making like a C shape inside. We're going to get really close to this line, but we're not going to touch it. So it's going to look like this. And then you're going to bring this around, and it's going to touch this bottom line. So the bottom line is going to touch, and you're going to have like a C shape. So this is a nice dark line. You can kind of lighten up as you come there. So it's dark. Okay, and once we've got that line in there, I'm going to pull out some lines from here, some long lines. Then they'll get shorter. And then they'll get long again. So it still kind of has like a little C shape in here. All right, and then the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and shade the rest of this. It should be like another ellipse inside of here, really light. So we're very lightly going to put in a little bit of shade in here. And if it's hard for you to go lightly, then you can just come in here and blend from the dark side over to the light side. And that will work also. It'll give it a value that'll change. And it should look like that. All right, so that's basically our cup. And I have, you can still see the erase lines from the very beginning. But that's basically our cup there. And the next thing we're going to do is draw a bowl. All right, so a bowl is going to be like a piece of sphere. So we'll go ahead and start like this with an ellipse that looks like that. Then we'll bring this down and bring this down on the edge. And then from here we'll go ahead and curve. And that's our bowl. And don't worry about it being so perfect. And our light's going to come from this side again. So we're going to go ahead and shade off of this corner. We're going to shade this way, curving out. And I'm going to kind of come down a little bit out of that corner. And then start bringing these lines around. So it's going to look something like that. Okay. And then this is going to be our light side. And actually at the top, let's go ahead and make these lines a little longer. And then they'll go short and then back to like long like this. So it's like a backward C, sort of like that. And then we're going to lighten up this line on the side. As it starts to curve down, you can leave it alone. But you want to lighten up this where you can still see that. And we're going to fill the whole thing with a very light value. So I'm going to just go in here and shade this up with a light value. And then I'm going to come over here again, make sure I reach the line. This edge should be light. And then I can go ahead and kind of blend from the dark side over to the light side. From the dark side over to the light side. You don't want to go too straight. You kind of want to curve a little bit so you keep the shape of the bowl here. And that's pretty much that right there. And we can go ahead and erase again anything that's shading or shaded outside of the bowl. We don't need any floating shapes. Then we're going to do the inside part just like we did the inside part of this cup. Okay, so we're going to start off making that C shape really close to the top line. We're going to go really close. And then we're going to come around and we'll touch it on this bottom side. We will touch. Make sure it's dark. It can go a little bit thick here and then thin out as it goes that way. And there's your C shape. And then you're going to fill this in with some long lines again. Long lines. And I make fast strokes because at the end of the fast stroke, your line kind of thins out. And then the lines get a little shorter, and then they'll get a little longer as you come back down to the bottom. And then you still have like a little C shape in there. And again, you can fill it in really lightly, or you can just go with your finger and blend in there to fill the other side. And then the dark side, pick up that lead and kind of blend it into the other side of the bowl. And then you should have something that looks like that. Okay? And that's pretty much that with the cup and the bowl. The last thing you could do with these is add a dark line where this would be touching the ground or the surface. We can add a dark line right here. As it starts to curve up, it's no longer dark. And then on the opposite side, the cup, we're going to do the same thing. The bottom part of the cup, we're going to go ahead and make sure we have a nice dark line on here. And since our light was coming from here, we can add a little shadow. We don't have to be too particular, but right in the middle, we'll just kind of like add some shading that comes out this way. Really light. And above this little corner, you want to bring that around as well. Something like this works. And then all you have to do is use your finger and kind of smudge that shadow in there and have it come this way. And then for the bowl, you'll kind of do the same thing, right? So this is kind of like the middle part. If it's round, this is our centered part. So we're just going to get some shadow that's going to come out this way. And it goes a little bit above the other side. And then again, just smudge this over. And you've got your shadows to the bowls as well. All right. And that was Mondays. And then on Tuesday we did the hats. So I'm going to continue on the other next recording.